What's up YouTube, I'm Guy and you are watching Just Bluefish Watch Reviews. Now today we are looking at the Grand Seiko SBGH341G. And I'm probably going to mess this up, but they call it the Sakura-Kakushi, I believe is how you pronounce it. Now, before we jump into it, this video would not be possible without my channel sponsor, Exquisite Timepieces, so a big thanks to Joe McHale and the crew over there for loaning me this watch for the presentation. Definitely give Joe a shout if you're interested in this watch or anything else. So what makes this watch special amongst a collection of special watches from the Grand Seiko catalog? Well, I have to say that it has quite a few things going for it, at least in my opinion, from the overall proportion and the size to the immaculate fit and finishing and the quality. But when it comes to Grand Seiko, the story usually has to do with the dial. And I'll be the first to admit that pink dials are generally not my thing. Neither is salmon dials or teal dials or anything that resembles a pastel color, honestly. But I absolutely can appreciate the creativity and the artistry that goes into a dial like this Grand Seiko. Now, what the heck does Sakura-Kakushi mean anyway? Well, after butchering that word several times now, I'll try to tell you what it actually means. And according to the brand's website, it describes the beauty of the Tohoku region during the March equinox, and the dial evokes a scene of snow delicately concealing the blooming cherry blossoms of the area. And yeah, I do get that with this. Now, aside from the dial, which is probably worth the price of admission all on its own, what else do we get with this timepiece? Well, let's go over a few of the features and the specs, but first give me a moment of your time to share a quick word about my channel partner, Exquisite Timepieces. This video is presented in partnership with Exquisite Timepieces, located in Naples, Florida. Exquisite is an authorized dealer of dozens of watch brands, including Seiko and Grand Seiko, Omega, Oris, Blancpain, Breguet, and many more. Exquisite also has an amazing selection of pre-owned watches with new inventory coming in daily. So if you're looking for your next watch, check their website, exquisitetimepieces.com, or call their store at 239-227-2932, and let them know that you heard about them from Guy and the Just Bluefish channel. I can't recommend them enough. Okay, so this watch comes in at a dimension that measures in at 38 millimeters in diameter with an overall case length of 44.5 millimeters. A thickness of 12.9 millimeters, and between the lugs we have a measurement of 20 millimeters. Now, I absolutely love watches in this size. My wrist is fairly thin, and even this Rolex Submariner at 40 millimeters looks a little big on me. My wrist comes in at 6.5 inches, and 38 millimeter watches tend to be some of my favorites. I do think that the 44 millimeter lug-to-lug length on this Grand Seiko does make this one feel a little bit smaller than you might expect though. And I find that more often than not, I would probably prefer a lug-to-lug length that is between 46 and 48 millimeters on a 38 millimeter watch to give it a little bit more wrist presence. Now, with all of that said, let's clarify that this isn't trying to be a big, flashy, loud, or in-your-face timepiece. If that's what you're looking for, I would probably go with something else. But if you're searching for something with an understated elegance, this watch has that in spades. Now, regarding the rest of the specs, we get a case and a bracelet made of high-intensity titanium and a dual-curved sapphire crystal covering the watch face. This Grand Seiko is 100 meters of water resistance, and it features a screw-down crown on the case that is absent any bulky crown guards, making for a really nice streamlined presentation. It runs the caliber 9S85 high-beat automatic movement, which has a 55-hour power reserve, and it features a display case back on the rear of the watch. Now, that high-beat movement is quite impressive. Sure, it doesn't have the huge 3-day power reserve like some other watch movements do, but in my opinion, anything over 48 hours of power reserve is kind of overrated anyway. But what you do get with this movement is great accuracy in the range of -3 to +5 seconds per day, and the ultra-smooth sweeping of the seconds hand as this watch beats away at 36,000 times per hour, or 10 times per second. I have to say I love the look of a high beat. The fit and finish on the case and the bracelet is exceptional, as you would come to expect with Grand Seiko timepieces. Grand Seiko's known for their Zaratsu polishing, and the polished and the brushed surfaces even on this one are absolutely not disappointing. Even on titanium surfaces, Grand Seiko somehow figures out how to get away with flawless final finishing on their watches, and it is impressive to say the least. Now, some people don't like titanium watches, and look, that's fair, you're entitled to that opinion. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But sometimes, while I would say that I do agree that titanium doesn't look or doesn't present quite as nicely as stainless steel, the titanium that Grand Seiko uses somehow does. Plus, it's exceptionally lighter than stainless steel too, which is a win if you ask me. Sometimes a brand will use a darker, almost dusty looking grade of titanium, and yeah, I get why someone might not like that as much as stainless. But you really do have to see a high intensity titanium Grand Seiko in person to really appreciate it. I can barely tell the difference between it and stainless steel, other than the fact that it's way lighter. One downside of titanium watches is that they generally do tend to be a bit more expensive than their stainless steel counterparts, however, and regarding the price on this watch, it does come in with a US retail price of $7,300. Now, I think that there are several price points that people tend to gravitate towards, and this one breaks a crucial price point and then leaves it in an awkward place when it comes to the cost. For your average person that isn't too into watches, anything over $100 is probably out of the question. For a lot of beginning watch collectors and enthusiasts, stuff under $500 is their comfort zone. Then you have some beginning and intermediate collectors that will splurge a bit more, and maybe they'll go up to $1,000. My point is that now when it comes to this watch, it enters the luxury tier, and I find that most people here have two roadblocks or hurdles. Some folks are stuck at a hard limit of $5,000 and under, while others might go up to as much as $10,000. And this watch sits awkwardly right in the middle. You know, can you convince someone with a spending limit of $5,000 to spend nearly 50% more? Or conversely, if someone has a budget of $10K, would they be likely to spend less than what they were intending to, and maybe have sort of the perception that if they'd spent more, they would have gotten a nicer watch based on the price anyway? I mean, it's not a big deal or a huge criticism or anything, and I'm probably harping on this weird $7,300 price point a little bit too much. But yeah, the price feels a little bit awkward based on my experience of getting to know watch collectors and watch enthusiasts and getting to know how people's spending and collecting habits coexist. Now, with that said, if you are thinking of spending a bit more than your budget, or if you have a larger budget and you aren't sure if you should get something a bit quote-unquote better, which probably wouldn't be the case, this watch is outstanding, I do have to say that in either case, you will definitely not be disappointed with the SBGH341. All right, guys, well, that will wrap this one up for today. Thanks again to Joe McHale and the Exquisite Timepieces crew for loaning me this one for the review. Now, do me a favor while you're here, hit those buttons, you know, the like and the subscribe button. I could really use the help and the support. An absurd majority of my viewers aren't subscribed, and it's killing me, it's killing my channel. So please, just hit the subscribe button. It's the easiest and the best thing that you can do to help support me, and it costs you absolutely nothing. Now, with all of that said, let me wrap this up and say thanks again for watching, and until the next one, bye now.